Hey, what's up, guys? It's Chef Way, and I'm here with Tastemade and Walmart to bring you the much waited for almost one pan pasta. So, I am a chef online, and I'm a trial lawyer by day. So, I actually just got out of trial yesterday. It went quite well for me, I must say. Um, but one of the things I love to do and one of my passions is obviously cooking. And so, across Instagram to 41,000 followers and across TikTok to about 240,000 followers, I share my love for cooking with the masses. So what we're going to do today is the almost one pan pasta. And what I particularly love about the ingredients is that we were able to get them delivered to my door with the Walmart grocery delivery app. So not only did we save a lot of money and keep things within the budget, but we're able to make sure that we still have big and bold flavors, that we don't have to sacrifice any of that when we're cooking. So I gotta say, I love the convenience that Walmart has, along with being able to deliver these ingredients to my door, in addition to having them being picked up. So one of the first things that we're going to get done is that if you are making this at home, you want to have already had your pasta water boiling, and you want to go ahead and get that ready to go, because that's going to be a multitasking portion of what we're doing here. So I've got my pasta cooked up to just above al dente, so it's ready to go into the pan. So the first thing we're going to do is get the butter into the pan. And in addition to that, we're going to add in an equal amount of oil. And that's going to let us have the flavor of the butter, but with the oil in combination, it's going to let us be able to take this butter up to a higher temp. So we're going to get that nice and foamy. And once that gets melted down, we're going to go in with our shallots. So shallots are a member of the allium family. So that's the same family that scallions and garlic and onion come from. I would describe this as a milder onion with a hint of garlic. And so I put directions into the recipe that will allow you to be able to replace it if you cannot find shallots. So once our butter is foaming up a little bit, we're going to go in with our shallots. And shallots are renowned for their ability to be able to melt and just melt into the dish. Whereas if we were doing fajitas and we had like a white onion, it would just be so pungent and it would just kind of overpower things. So the second thing you're going to do is season every step of the way. So I've got some fresh cracked black pepper, I've got a little pinch of salt, and I've got a little bit of pinch of MSG. I use all three. They are staple seasonings in my home. So we're going to let this go. A little bit, we want to saute. We want to get some caramely notes here. So we're going to let the shallots come together, and that butter is going to start to foam. And this is going to be the base of the sauce. It's going to build the flavor base from which we'll just continue to build on. So you always want to season every step of the way. So this is actually like one of the first pasta dishes I was making. Like I was in college, and I was like, man, I need to start learning how to cook. And so it was recipes that actually taught me the fundamentals that I use today in every other application. And if you see my videos, you know I go really deep into some of the complex techniques that are used by pro chefs. But it started with stuff like this. It was like, oh, I had a nice lady I was gonna have over for dinner, and it was like, okay, I'm gonna cook something that might impress her. So what we have here is the shallots beginning to create some color. And I want you to kind of get used to, if you see the visual cue in the shallot turning the color, and you smell it, and it smells nutty and aromatic, that should be your cue. So you can see the butter is kind of browning and the shallots are kind of turning color. So that's our visual cue there. It could take 3 to 4 minutes, but I've got a nice good amount of heat here, so it's going to happen fairly quickly. We're going to use poppy seeds, which are normally used in a lot of baking applications, but you should try it in a savory application. They have a very nice nutty flavor, and it's going to pair very well with this. So careful if you have allergies, but man, this is so awesome. It's very surprising to see an ingredient like this. It's super underutilized. And then Walmart carries an organic, great value brand at their store. So we're going to toast the poppy seeds, and you're going to smell the nutty aromas. Be mindful of your heat. But man, the volatile aromas of the poppy seeds are going to start to come out. The caramely notes from the shallots are going to start to come out. And this is the flavor base. Kick the heat up just a little bit. watch the temperature. And I didn't mention, now we're in a stainless steel pan. I did have this preheating for quite some time. You know, stainless steel pans, especially when you're having a 3-ply, has a core that needs to get hot. So make sure that you're preheating your pan appropriately. And I can start to smell the poppy seeds, their flavor coming out. It smells awesome. So this recipe, you can use wine. Now, I opted for chicken stock. However, if you want to, you should pair it with like a Pinot or some sort of white wine that you like to drink. So if it doesn't taste good in your cup, it's not going to taste good in here. So pick a good wine that you like, and that's going to be what you'll deglaze with. Now, I'm going to use chicken stock, and I'm going to let this go just another 30 seconds. It smells really good. This was the showstopper, like when I was in college. Man, it was like if I was cooking this, it was like she knew I really liked it. So, and I'm about to get married next year, so I mean, obviously the cooking is working out for me. So the shallots are starting to brown. The nuttiness from the poppy seeds is starting to come out. Again, you want to be mindful anytime you're cooking with butter and any type of allium plant, like in this case shallots, or if it would be onions or garlic. You want to be mindful of the color. If you cook the allium plant too long, it's going to become bitter. So be very mindful of that. All right, now we're going to do what's called deglazing, which is a liquid is added to the pan and it loosens up the fond and the brown bits at the bottom of the pan. So it's going to be a lot of steam, but this is one of the fundamental cooking techniques. So I'm going to kick my heat up a little bit. So now we're going to be able to scrape the bottom of the pan. Now all of the brown bits at the bottom of this pan are the flavor bases that you want to be tasted throughout. So be very firm when you're scraping the bottom of the pan. And we're going to just reduce this by 1/3. All right. So by now, we're going to, as we start to reduce this, you should have put your pasta in the water. So again, this is a multitasking exercise. And I think one of the best way to build the fundamentals of making good pasta, where your sauce and your pasta finish at virtually the same time. So So this is a really good chicken stock. It's Walmart's Great Value Organic Low Sodium Chicken Broth. So I know making sure that your salt levels aren't too high is super important. And in particular, when I'm using it in a dish like this, where I've already seasoned the shallots, it's great not to be able to just add a salt bomb. That there is good flavor in the chicken stock, and it's not going to over salt things. So I've kicked my heat up. Anytime I reduce, I'll kick my heat up. Again, you got to do with what you're comfortable with. If you would like to do it slowly, that's fine, but I have a good amount of heat here, and just gonna let that reduce. Taste as you go. Pretty good. So this is where you would have to put your wine in. Again, I'm using chicken stock, but you can use wine as you choose. Now we're gonna let this reduce by 1/3. And we are going to go in with our buttermilk and our heavy cream. These are our dairy products. So the buttermilk is going to add a nice tang to be able to pair well with the sweetness of the shallot. Let me get that measured up. And then the heavy cream is going to add a sweetness and a bit of body and a fatty content and a good mouthfeel to what you're eating. So I like to use both, and I love the balance that it creates. Let's see if I can measure this from the other side. All right, so now we're together. I generally like to use the combo of both rather than just one. So I think if you guys kind of break up the heavy cream monotony and then add it, because the buttermilk adds a good deal of acid to it. So it just, you want to have the salty, the sweet, the acidic, and just a well-balanced flavor. So looks like our chicken stock is reduced by about 1/3. We're going to go in with our dairy products, which in this case is buttermilk and heavy cream. So this is great. Normally I'd make my own butter and my own buttermilk, but Walmart has it all here for me. So I don't have to go through the days of fermenting my butter, saving my buttermilk. Y'all know I like to do the most on all of my videos. So, all right. We're going to bring this together and reduce by 1/3. As you can see, it's looking really good. We may need to adjust the salt. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the salt. Salt, MSG, pepper, trifecta in my house. So yeah, so like a little bit about me, like what I do is like I love to get deep into the weeds on cooking. So I go a lot into like the science behind cooking, as well as the intersection of culture and food. So as they come together, we create these new experiences. And so that's kind of like the passion behind all the stuff that I do on my page. In particular, pasta is one of the best ways to communicate to other people, specifically how much you care for them. So if it's Father's Day, Mother's Day, or if it's like a date, or you've had like 3 or 4 dates, now you're going to cook for her. This is the one in the showstopper that I think that is definitely going to help you out in the long run. So we're going to get this reducing by about a third. Is this the dish that got me engaged? I would say so. I got to say that the fundamentals that I was able to get off of this dish is definitely what I carried into the rest of my cooking. So yes, it's things like this, and my fiance loves carbs, so she could eat this all day pretty much, and this is one of my favorite dishes. So all right, it's coming together. It's reducing. I'm gonna cook the heat up. Now this is where you're multitasking. So your sauces nearly come together. Your pasta should be cooked at around 9 minutes, which is not al dente, where it would be maybe 12 or 11 minutes. It's going to be at around 9. It's kind of early, right? Because we're going to finish it in the sauce. Now, that's one of the best, techniques you can have in any, Italian preparation. This is not necessarily an Italian dish, but a lot of the fundamentals, come from that region. So, again, we're reducing here. We're concentrating the flavors. We're evaporating. As you can see, the steam coming off of it. And all of the milk solids and all of the proteins are staying in here while the water is coming off. So we're getting the concentration of flavor. All right. Man, that smells so good. Make sure the seasoning. You can stick a finger in there when you get experience like me, like it don't burn. All right, so it is coming together. The poppy seeds are really adding a great nutty note, and the shallots, because we actually sauteed them and put some color on them, they're providing us a really good nutty flavor. So the pasta, yes, it does absorb more flavor as it finishes in the sauce. So that's one of the best things that you can do. And I've actually, I just recently came back from Italy. I was able to eat some of the best restaurants in the world. And one of the guys there, Chef Savio Perna, he's a Michelin star chef out there. He actually cooked his pasta in tomato water. And the dish he finished it with was like this tomato sauce with like uni, sea urchin. So he actually took it a step further. Like not only is he finishing it in the sauce, but he's actually boiling it in tomato water, which has its own flavor and umami. And I thought it was one of the best demonstrations of what I call umami synergy, which tomatoes have a lot of glutamates, etc. So that's getting into the weeds. Y'all know that's my favorite thing to do. So I would say we are at the area of about reduced by 1/3. All right, so by this time you will have taken your pasta out of the water and you will have reserved some of your pasta water, which is going to have the starches that are going to help to make your sauce come together. So we're going to go in with the pasta. 12 ounces here. Now I'm going to add a little bit of pasta water to open it up a little bit now. Now pasta water is going to give you a couple of things. It's going to have the additional starches, and it's going to give you the ability to thin your sauce out. So you can add as little or as much as you want. However, if it gets too thick, then you're going to come in with some of the pasta water. So I'm going to make sure that this gets back up to boiling. And we're going to adjust the seasoning. Your pasta water, I would say that you shouldn't overdo it. There is an actual percentage by weight that you want to shoot for. I can't remember it off the top of my head, but I want to say it's like maybe 1 to 2%. So what kind of pasta am I using? I'm actually using bowties, which in the Italian word is called farfalle. And it's just one of the best pastas ever. And in particular, I'm using this where I would normally use like a linguine or something like that, because we're going to be pairing it with Walmart's rotisserie pulled chicken. So this is already off of the bone. You don't have to break out the gloves. You don't have to have a bunch of chicken bones left over with that now you feel forced to make a chicken stock out of. Walmart actually has everything ready to go, packed in protein. And of course, you could use it in a salad. You could use it on a sandwich. It's very well seasoned. So, and it's going to pair very well. And I mean, as you can see, this is a big portion. So, I mean, you can get the kids eating. This could be a meal prep for you. So that is coming together. And let's see what we're doing. In terms of our salt level, you want to season as you go. Let's see. Definitely needs more salt. I know the chicken has a little salt, so I want to be mindful of that. I'm going to kick this heat up. All right, so our pasta should be finishing and absorbing the flavors of the sauce here. And I've got another question coming in. What other types of protein would you use? So I would actually go with a shrimp if you want. So I love, like, one of the ways that I think restaurants are able to make you feel as if this is something you can't do at home is like they'll make this in the pan and then they'll provide it with like a grilled meat. So I always loved the contrasting flavors of the smokiness of like a grilled chicken or a grilled shrimp paired with a delicately prepared pan sauce. And so like that was one of the things that I always tried to do when I first started cooking, was to emulate the flavors that I would taste at restaurants and etc. So I was a copycat in a sense. How can I recreate this, and ultimately how can I make it better? So that is coming together. And man, my fiance is at work. I know she wish she could have some of this. And we are getting ready to go in with the chicken. I just want to reduce this just a little bit more, adjusting for the seasoning. Pretty good. I could use a little more. A little bit of salt, a little bit of MSG, a little bit of fresh cracked black. All right, we're looking for the sauce to kind of tighten up a little bit. And it's coming together, guys. So it looks like we're almost there. I'm gonna go in with the chicken now. So I have a lot of. Do you have a lot of experience? But is this dish good for a beginner? Yes, this dish is great for a beginner. All of the stuff like reducing and deglazing, as well as like finishing your pasta a little bit early. Those are fundamentals that you will be able to carry with you. So while this may have a lot of moving parts, I think the sauteing of the shallots and the sauteing of the poppy seeds, that's all things that you can carry with you. So it's going to transfer well. And you're going to learn to be like a pro in the kitchen because you got the water boiling, you got this going. All right. So I'm going to go in with the chicken. And this is very well seasoned. You recommend other shaped pastas or do you recommend bowtie? So that was a great question because of the chicken that I'm using. It's already pulled. I want it to be able to make a bite that you could put on your fork and take a bite out of. So I would traditionally, with this sauce, I would be using like a linguine or a fettuccine. So I'm going to go in with the chicken. The sauce is going to become thickening. So now it's really pulling together. Nice big chunks. All right. So we're going to warm that chicken through. It's already cooked. This is going to break up some of the bigger chunks. Thicken that sauce up. And there should be some good amount of salt off the chicken. So it should be well seasoned here. Sauce is nice and thickened up. All right. break up some of those bigger parts. And then just warm it through. Got it on a nice high heat here. So again, our noodles are finishing in the sauce. They're just about gone. I would say to warm the chicken through, you're looking at maybe 2 to 3 minutes. It shouldn't take that long, honestly. So your pasta will be a little bit hotter than mine because it's going to be coming straight out of the water. So certainly the temperature of my pan definitely reduced due to the pasta having been pre-cooked. So that is going to be a lot quicker for you on that end. So I am kind of where I want to be, and chicken is warmed through. How do you tell if the sauce is the right thickness? Generally speaking, I would say that it should be able to coat the back of the spoon fairly comfortably. It's like almost there on this. When you're cooking it and you're taking this pasta straight out of the water, it's definitely going to come together a little bit quicker. Could you use vegetables? Yes, you could totally use vegetables. You don't have to go protein here. I think a veggie stock would actually pair very well. I'm just going to break up some of that bigger piece there. All right, so we are nearing completion. I see the sauce is nice and thickened. Now, I'm going to traditionally recommend that you go like off the heat with any of the cheese. I have a little bit of room to use the heat, so I'm going to go in with the Parmesan. This is great value Parmesan. It's really convenient. It's pre-shredded. So I'm going to go in with the cheese. This is going to help thicken everything up. You traditionally want to go off the heat. I'm going to go on the heat. I just want to get it a little bit thicker. Consistency I like. Now it's really starting to coat. And then you just want to make sure you're breaking up some of those bigger chunks of chicken. So you have a nice spoonful. It's certainly thickening up. All right. So we're going to do basically our final. I don't know, as a chef, I like a little bit of heavier seasoning there. All right. We are ready to coat the back of a spoon. I'm going with just a little bit more. Parm the taste, for sure. You can do whatever you want on the parm. Your house, your rules. Now, we're going to cut the heat. You can see it's nice and well coated. I'm going to kill the heat. I'm going to go with the juice of a lemon, which I'm going to gently zest. I always recommend zesting if possible. You don't have to zest. You just do the juice. But it's another way to incorporate flavor into your dish. So, recipes are guidelines. You don't have to adhere to the strict rules of the recipe. It should just be a guideline for you. And then you can do whatever you want outside of that. All right, now I'm going to juice half a lemon. And that's going to give us like a little bright kick. And I might need a knife. So, go ahead and just get the juice right at the end. And then I've got my scallions cut on the bias. So this is awesome because like they're literally like fancy looking. And this was one of the first techniques that I learned when I started cooking. And it made me feel like I was like really killing it. So I recommend cutting on the bias. Showstopper. Yeah. I love it. That cheese is getting nice and melty. Going with a little bit more. So yeah, I mean, it's just like shallots, scallions, and then you can finally do like your final seasoning adjustment. It's perfect. So I'm going to plate. I like to do a little bit of additional cheese. Make sure by this time you've adjusted your seasoning. As you can see, the sauce is very well coating the edges of the pan. and the sauces come together. And I mean, that's just like, what more could you ask for? So this is protein packed. No skimping on the sauce. Man. All right, so I'm gonna hit it with some more scallions. And then a little bit of additional cheese. You can never have too much cheese. And then I'm gonna go down with some fresh cracked black pepper. Always. Yeah, that's gonna be perfect. Right there, so let's give it a taste. So that is gonna be a great bite. I love the contrasting colors and the sauce. The pasta, believe it or not, is not overcooked because it was really par cooked. So it gave me a lot of extra additional time for it to spin in the pan with the sauce. The rotisserie pulled chicken, so tender, juicy. I mean, this is amazing. And I mean, it just doesn't get much better than that, having it delivered to your door. So, you know, I hope. My work. So I hope that I was able to teach you a little bit of the fundamentals. Maybe when you're cooking like this, you may be getting married next year just like me. This is the type of stuff that is really going to truly help you communicate how much you care about somebody. Pasta is a love language. It's one of my greatest passions. So I hope that you were able to kind of learn something from this, from the way that we reduced in the pan, to deglazing, to sauteing, to multitasking while making your pasta, and finishing your sauce around the same time, to par cooking the pasta, to finishing it in the pan. These are all great fundamentals. I also hope that when you make any sauce with heavy cream, that you'll also use buttermilk. Combine both of them. Lighten the dish up a little bit. Remember to season as you go and to continue to build the flavors as well as the practice that it's going to take to get you cooking at the next level. So until next time, I want to say shout out and thank you to Walmart and Tastemade. I love that you guys were able to partner with me so that I could bring this wonderful dish to you. And until next time, I'm signing out. All right, guys, I got to finish this. Bye-bye.